This is a video showing what I typically do when I get a new guitar. This is a 2005 Gibson Explorer Pro Trans Black. I prefer to use Dunlop strings, but I have a spare set of Diodarios, so I'll just use these. So I'm going to polish the frets. Polishing frets can actually make the bends when you're bending the string feel a bit smoother, depending on how bad the frets are. The ones here aren't too bad, but I'm just going to polish them for looks. I've used masking tape to cover the fretboards, so I'll be using steel wool to polish the frets, and I don't want to damage the fretboard. You need to be careful what tape you use. You want to use a tape with a mild adhesive that doesn't leave much residue. Stuff I use sometimes leaves a slight residue, but it's mild, so I can easily remove it with a tissue. Never use the clear plastic tape. It will leave a residue that will be a nightmare to remove. You should always use superfine steel wool with the 4 zeros, which you can see in the top right corner there. You also see I've taped up the net pickup since it's magnetic and I don't want any steel wool to collect in there. So fret polishing, not too complicated. Small piece of steel wool, you don't have to press hard. It should polish pretty quickly, up and down, easy. Now I'm going to turn the gloss finish on the back of the neck to a nice smooth satin finish. Some people don't mind playing on gloss necks. I can't stand them, especially on a hot or humid day. My hand can't run smoothly over the neck. So I've taped up the neck, leaving the area that I want the satin finish to be. You don't have to tape it up, but I like to do it just so it looks nice and neat. Looks like a professional job. Gibson uses nitro gloss finishes, unlike most other brands that use polygloss. So the nitro version is actually a bit weaker or softer than the poly kind. So I'm going over the neck with superfine steel wool. I like to do it in a circular motion or swirling motion, just so you get all the scratches that go in different directions along the neck. You want to press firmly when doing this as well. You don't want to press really hard, but you also don't want to press too soft either. When I first tried this, it was on a Schecter guitar. I was a bit nervous about doing it, so I pressed very lightly. Then I played the guitar and the neck wasn't any smoother than it was before, so I freaked out because I thought I'd ruin the neck on the guitar for nothing, and it didn't look good either. It just looked like a scratched up neck. But the second time I pressed fairly hard and I went over the neck over and over until it looked like a real satin finish. Played it again and it was extremely smooth, so when you do this you need to commit and not wuss out. The finish should actually look like a proper satin finish as well. If it just looks like scratches, you haven't gone over it enough and you need to go over it harder. If you're shining a light directly on it, like the flash of this camera, you can see the satin finish is made up of lots of little scratches, but without shining a light directly on it, it should just look like a normal satin finish. So the frets are polished and the neck is nice and smooth now. Since there are no strings, it's a good opportunity to clean the fretboard. There might be some residue left from the masking tape that I used earlier, so I should clean that off. I like to use Q-tips and tissues with something mild like lemon oil. I usually give the body a polish now since it's easier when the strings are off and the bridge pieces are off. I also like to put some graphite in the nut slots just so the strings move through the nut nice and smoothly and don't grab the nut. It helps tuning stability. I like to string my guitar a certain way. I use a method I learned from watching Seymour Duncan restring a guitar on YouTube. So instead of putting the string through the hole straight away and winding it up, I'll actually wrap it around first and then I'll put the string through the hole, and I'll make sure the string doesn't overlap itself. The reason for this is it puts less wear and tear on the tuners, so you only have to turn it a few times and you are done. So it's all stringed up now. I'll then make sure the truss rod is set the way I like it. The string height, I usually like it to be about 1.5mm between the 6th string and the 12th fret, and about 1.2mm between the 1st string and the 12th fret. After that I'll do the intonation and then I'm done.